I'm currently 120 interviews into speaking candidly with performance staff from around the world. This includes physios, S&Cs, nutritionists, physiologists, performance directors, head of service and head coaches. Many of them admit they solely focus their development through technical CPD. They don't know who they are or where they want to go because it's something they've only thought about through the lens of their career, never from the lens of them as a person. This shows up by focusing on the things that blur their perspective on what's truly important to them. And this was so true for me when I was an S&C coach. I became so lost in my professional world. Without actively seeking to challenge your assumptions, you create huge blind spots in seeing how your thoughts, feelings, and actions influence your life and those that matter around you. In this video, you're going to learn a detailed look at the blind spots CPD creates with real-life examples. You're going to learn the cost of over-focusing on technical development, and you're going to learn how to effectively approach your development through a new lens. If you're new to the channel, I'm Richard. I guide senior male performance support staff to go from feeling lost in improving athletes at the expense of themselves, to finding their personal freedom within sport, or to find their own exit strategy. If this resonates with you and you're seeking to change your quality of life, it's important to know what stage you're at right now. So download the free workbook, The Path Ahead. This 15-page guide is an ideal resource for senior male performance support staff. You'll learn the 7-stage process of change in relation to where you are currently in your life. And you'll have real examples from performance support staff helping you identify with clarity where you are. And lastly, please subscribe to the channel as it'll help this content reach more performance staff that truly need it. So part 1, a detailed look at the blind spots CPD creates with real life examples. Without question, it takes a huge amount of vision, dedication and skill to get a position in high performance sport. And this creates a huge blind spot. Now, me personally, I was so caught up in upskilling myself on the latest trends of Bosch or the like that I never gave any thought to developing myself as a human being. Now, you've probably been introduced to models of awareness such as the hierarchy of competence by Noel Birch. Now, this model is a simple model where most of us start in the unconscious incompetence, where we're unaware of the skill and our lack of proficiency. And as we progress through, become more aware of our incompetence, you can apply that model to most things. Often it's looking at skill acquisition within technical criteria, but you can also direct that on yourself. And when I first found or discovered this model, I was working at the EIS as a strength and conditioning coach. Now, when I look at the EIS and somewhere that I loved working and valued it, they say, we believe that continuously developing everyone in the organization is critical to our ongoing success. We place a great deal of emphasis on creating opportunities for everyone to extend their knowledge whilst acquiring skills, experience, and qualifications. Combined with the unique experiences of working in Olympic and Paralympic sporting environments, we provide people with the opportunities to develop and achieve successful careers in high performance sport. Now, looking a little bit deeper in that, they focus on work-life balance. You know, how to achieve work-life balance, and they pride themselves in that. Now, it's great. I think it's really great, and I would say that EIS are one of the leaders in this area where they're really beginning to look at and nurture coach well-being. But as I said at the beginning, I've spoken to 120 men in sport, and some of them do work at institutes like that. And despite these things being in place, they're still struggling with their own personal work-life balance and other areas within their development. When I think of development now, I think of the whole person. The technical skills are such a small part of what's needed to create an ideal impact. Now, when you look at organisations such as the UKSA, you'll see that there's no focus on the person, it's just technical criteria. Now, that negative shows up in an example I want to share with you within the English Premier League. The way that shows up is a story in football, top flight football in England. I spoke to had been in their job for a year, and one of their colleagues had booked a time off during the day to go with their partner to a prenatal class. Later on that day, he overheard two colleagues discussing that person and questioning their loyalty to the team. Technical development, people are so lost in their world, they're completely unaware. I don't think it's malicious, it's just unaware. How do you turn the mirror in on yourself to want to understand yourself, you the man, on a deeper level? Now, to me, that example is quite sad, and it just shows to me that how performance staff can get lost to the world of performance sport. They may be some of the most technically skilled, yet they lack personal awareness to realise their thoughts, feelings and actions are causing incoherent MDT that's most likely not operating as well as it could be. Now, someone who I think is doing great work in this space is Brett Bartholomew, and kind of linking to his mission, which is poor communication nearly cost him his life. He now helps others navigate the grey area of social interaction so they can become more adaptable leaders. Now, this really looks at the human element and sits underneath the role of performance staff. Step 2 is the cost of over-focusing on technical development. The cost is massive and echoes with so many of the men I've spoken with. Here are just a couple of the examples from conversations I've had in my research. I still catch myself trying to demonstrate on Billy Big Balls and how much I know. I feel like I've reached a crisis point and I've had enough of being a bloke. My wife and I have split up and only now do I see where we've grown apart, which makes me ready to work on myself and make significant changes in my life. Another example, I've been too focused on my career and now I'm paying the price. All of my eggs have been in my professional identity basket. I've never had a personal mentor or coach to support me working on myself. It's all been focused on CPD and being better in my career. I've put myself in this hole because I haven't had the life experience or tools to manage myself. And lastly, I'm really bad at switching off. I overthink things and I'm often neurotic. I get lost in spending my time looking at the technical work in my bubble of performance that I don't spend quality time that I intend to with my family. Now, part 3 to this, how to effectively approach your development. What is success to you? So many are bouncing from stepping stones to stepping stone without awareness of the specifics of what success means to them. And of course, better never stops can be broken down through the lens of which we all know so very well. The labels of world class, conferences spoken at, number of medals won. I can tell you that it's a costly pursuit. Another example, I had a tough time after athletes I supported achieved Olympic success. I felt directionless and aimless in my mind, and I thought having an athlete winning gold was the pinnacle of what we do and why we do it. But after they had won, I was waiting for some kind of feeling of achievement to hit, and it just never did. Now, someone else I want to point you to is Josh Fletcher and Dan Howes, who are doing great work in this space with regard to professional development. Check out their career blueprint. What I'm interested in is you as the man behind your role. Are you seeking to understand those parts of you that guide your life, whether you like them or not? And the first step in this is, can you define or articulate your core values? An unclarity of the values creates unclear boundaries, which makes it hard for people to say no, because no is perceived as a negative, when in fact a no is just, when one no means you're saying yes to something else. And I think those boundaries and the clarity of boundaries is one of the key areas that I focus on now with people. 3 of mine are authenticity, spirituality, integrity. Authenticity, because for so long I was not authentic or truthful to myself, let alone other people. Spirituality, simply because I've been witness to my parents dying. It's just given me a huge awareness of I am going to die one day. What does that mean? And integrity means being completely integral to my word. How can I live most authentically to my values and to my purpose? Now, the second step is, once you see your values, are you living aligned to them? Or is there a discrepancy? Most people I talk to probably can't even describe their values and really the why behind them. But secondly, all of a sudden there's a discrepancy between their core values and how they're actually living their life. Again, the lens of technical criteria is just taking their attention, taking their energy, and leaving these other areas just lost to kind of drift away. And the third step to this is to really look at you. How do you show up when your partner or child tests you the most? What's your response? How do you own your part in that? And what are you pretending not to know about the situation? Technical knowledge is useless if you're not being the best version of yourself when you get home. Now, a powerful example of this is from a practitioner I spoke to, and he said, the roles didn't allow me to see my kids. My kids always said to me, Dad, why are you always on your phone? Even when I'm at home with them, I'm not at home with them. The reason why I went to therapy was because I got too engrossed in my work. So when my partner tried to interact me or interrupted my thought process, I'd be very aggressive and verbally shout over the simplest of things. My default driver is to do better and be better. And at some point in time, I forgot in that process what I actually like doing. Now, my daughter is one of my greatest teachers for this very reason. She allows me to see where I have work to do on myself. And to me, that means understanding, how do I show up on a daily basis? How aware can I be of my unseen parts? How do I hold my center when all things around me are uncertain? And how can I stop getting drawn into the unimportant frustrations of life, to open up my heart, to love the people most dearest to me, with the presence and clarity to see the bigger picture? It's simply, how does this show up for you? What is the cost of this for you? Because I can tell you, you're not alone. Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear and just create this discussion and keep this discussion going. If this resonates with you and you're seeking to change your quality of life, I want to remind you to download the free workbook, The Path Ahead. And this 15-page guide is an ideal resource for senior male performance support staff. Learn the 7-stage process of change in relation to you and your life. And there'll be real-life examples from performance staff helping you identify with clarity where you are. I want to thank you for watching and be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you again.